Alright, hello friends, Anthony Florio back with you once again here on the Tone 25 here on YouTube.com. First of two videos tonight, we're going to be talking about week 7 of the NFL season, 12 games on the docket. I'll give you my predictions on each and every one of those. And then after that, I will have another video for you all. It will be my power rankings for this week in the NFL. So, very busy night, so let's get right down to it. Before I do that, I want to get into a little quick thing real quick. We were supposed to have Strictly Sports Presents Football Friday tonight on Derek Ferrera's YouTube channel, but unfortunately the show got canceled tonight. Basically because it was my fault. I had a family get together tonight that I thought was going to be over well before the show, but something came up at the last minute, and the family get together wound up going a little later than I thought it would, and I didn't get in until after 11, and because of that, Derek decided to cancel the show, which was the right thing to do. So, and as you know the procedure with all of us here at Strictly Sports when it comes to when we cancel the show. We want to make sure that each and every one of you fantastic viewers and listeners out there get your money's worth, and we don't ever want you to feel cheated at all. And because of that, Derek Ferrera has already posted his videos on his channel, so check those out. He has his predictions for week 7, I'm sorry. 12 games, you would automatically think week 12, but it's week 7. 12 games there. So Derek has his video on that, and he also has his video on his power rankings, so he has that as well, so check those out. Of course, Michael Fletcher, our other colleague, he's got his video, his predictions and his power rankings on his Facebook page, so check those out when you get a chance. And as for me, well, I'm going to do my videos right now, so let's get to it. First game on the docket, Arizona Cardinals against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Cardinals coming off a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills last week, 19-16 in overtime. Minnesota Vikings, they got beat down by the Washington Redskins, 38-26. Games in Minnesota at the Metrodome. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings in this game. 3-0 there. I mean, they're very tough to beat there. And, I think they'll bounce back after that tough loss to Washington last week. I think Ponder will bounce back, Adrian Peterson, Percy Harvin, and then the defense with Jared Allen leading the way. You know how tough they are. So I'll go with the Vikings in this one, 24-14. So we'll move on to our next matchup, Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers. Dallas coming off that tough loss to the Baltimore Ravens last week in Baltimore, 31-29, and then Carolina, from what I remember, I don't believe they played last week. I think they were on a bye last week, if I remember correctly. If I messed that up, I apologize. But the last game I can remember them was losing ugly game to Seattle in Carolina a couple of weeks ago, 16-12. Tony Romo, Cam Newton, we all know two of the most polarizing figures in the game today. Tony Romo, no quarterback is under more media scrutiny than he is, and it will not go away until he leads the Dallas Cowboys to a Super Bowl championship. And as far as Cam Newton goes, he's been in the news, making the headlines for the wrong reasons, of course, for being a nog and a diva. And of course, me, Derek Ferrera, Michael Bullock, the three of us, we have zero tolerance for nogs and divas. Michael Fletcher, once in a while will defend him, but, that's a story for another day. But, he had an attitude issue, and, his facial expressions, haven't been, they've been, a little whiny, a little bratty, if I'm being honest. Nothing personal, it's just the way I feel. But anyway, as far as the game is concerned, I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this game. Tony Romo, I think he can bounce back. I mean, he's had some disastrous games the last couple of weeks, and none more so than that 5-interception dud he put up against Chicago on the Monday night a couple of weeks ago. So I expect Romo to bounce back, DeMarco Murray, Jason Witten, maybe Miles Austin could get into the action. That would be great for me on my fantasy team. So, and then, of course, Carolina, well, they're almost the same as last year. I mean, bad record, but it's mainly because of tough luck losses. So with that, I got to go with Dallas in this one. I'll say 35-21. They'll bounce back. So move on to our next contest. We have the New Orleans Saints going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Saints coming off that first win of the year 2 weeks ago on Sunday Night Football at the Superdome when they knocked off the San Diego Chargers. Buccaneers coming off of an easy win against the dud Kansas City Chiefs at home, 38-10. Numbers would say go to Tampa in this one, but I'm not going to go with Tampa in this one. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints in this one because I think Drew Brees, coming off that emotional moment where he surpassed Johnny Unitas's consecutive games with a touchdown pass streak, And I think the Saints right now, this is where their comeback begins. And they win here, who knows? Maybe they could be on their way back to where they belong, and that is within the upper echelon of the NFC teams. I mean, they didn't go 13-3 last year for nothing, you know. They're not going to go 12-4. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, if they can, get some they can get some, quality wins, and they can put together a nice little streak here. And if they can win the easy games they're supposed to, maybe this team could be somewhere around 9-7, 10-6, if they're lucky. So, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for now, I'm gonna go with New Orleans in this one, 38-21. Drew Brees, you know what he's gonna do. He's just gonna go off. So I'm not gonna go into any more further details. So I'm just gonna move on. Next contest, it's the Green Bay Packers against the St. Louis Rams at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. Green Bay Packers last week, a 42-24 beatdown of the previously undefeated Houston Texans at Reliant Stadium. The St. Louis Rams, 17-14 loss at the hands of Michael Fletcher's Miami Dolphins at Sun Life Stadium. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, has been playing like an average quarterback, for the longest time. And then last week, finally broke out of his shell, and boy howdy did he do it in a big way. Over 300 yards and 6 touchdown passes, and Jordy Nelson had half of them, and well over 100 yards. So I expect those two to hook up early and often. Green Bay will win this one easy. I'll say 45-28. Green Bay routs St. Louis in the Edward Jones Dome. So nothing more to say on that. I'm just going to move on to our next contest. Washington Redskins against the New York Giants. This will be seen here on our local Fox affiliate here in East Providence, Rhode Island, WNAC. Fox Providence here, 1 o'clock game. I think this has potential to be a very good game. I mean, the Redskins coming off that big win against Minnesota last week, 38-26, and the Super Bowl champs coming off the most impressive win of the week, a 26-3 beatdown of the San Francisco 49ers at Candlestick Park. I mean, made it look easy and effortless, if you will. RG3, you thought coming off that concussion, you thought he was going to have a rough game, but no. He wound up having a great game. And Giants, well, you thought the 49ers, were going to, the revenge factor, but at the end of the day, then the Giants just came out and absolutely smothered them from start to finish. They manhandled Alex Smith and then some. So with that said, I got to go with the Giants in this one at MetLife Stadium. They're starting to play like the Super Bowl champs once again. I'm going to go with the G-Men in this one. 31-21. Giants win. Eli Manning, he'll have another big game. RG3 will have a big game, but I think Eli Manning's going to outplay him. So, and then that defense, forget it. So I got to go with the G-Men, 31-21, to win that game at MetLife Stadium. All right, next up, this is the game I'm waiting for. The Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans. This will be the first game of the CBS doubleheader here on our CBS affiliate here in Rhode Island. WPRI 12 will have this game. Both teams are 5-1. Of course, the news came out with the Ravens, Ray Lewis and Ladarius Webb out for the season. And, of course, the Ravens with that tough, hard-fought win against the Dallas Cowboys, 31-29 at home at M&T Bank Stadium. And the Texans just got absolutely manhandled by the Green Bay Packers, 42-24 last Sunday night on Sunday Night Football at home. Game at Reliant Stadium, rematch of that great divisional playoff game they had back in January where the Ravens won it 20-13. Tough game to call. I'm not going to lie. It really is. But I got to go based on the body of work here. And at the end of the day, I got to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to say 27-24. Baltimore knocks off Houston at Reliant Stadium. But it should be a hell of a game, and I cannot wait to see how this one turns out. This is the game I'm looking the most forward to in week number 7. So, and who knows, maybe it could be a divisional playoff preview again. Maybe possibly the AFC Championship game preview. Who knows? Sky's the limit, but I got to go with Baltimore. I think they're going to, the defense is going to fluster Matt Schaub, and they're going to, frustrate him, and that offense is going to get slowed down like they did last week against Green Bay. So, 27-24, Baltimore steals one in Houston. All right, next up, Tennessee Titans going up against my team, the Buffalo Bills. Both teams coming off huge wins last week. The Tennessee Titans on that Thursday night knocking off the Pittsburgh Steelers, 26-23, and the Buffalo Bills with that big win in Arizona, 19-16 in overtime. games at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo. Last year, as you recall, these two teams met in Buffalo, and Tennessee stole that game, as you all remember. I believe it was 23-17 was the score of that game. But I got to go with my team. I got to go with the Buffalo Bills in this one. I think they're on their way back. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will outplay Matt Hasselbeck, and if their running game is healthy, C.J. Spiller, Fred Jackson, and then you get that receiving core with Stevie Johnson and one of the most underrated tight ends in the game, Scott Chandler, and that defense, that's been, very critical. A lot of the experts have been critical, much maligned, but I think this is where the defense can bounce back, and maybe they can contain Chris Johnson. That would be awesome, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills in this one. I will say 21-10, Buffalo knocks off Tennessee at home. So I'm just going to move on to our final 1 o'clock matchup, the Cleveland Browns against the Indianapolis Colts. Cleveland Browns coming off their first win of the year over the Cincinnati Bengals at home. The Colts, they had that emotional win against the Green Bay Packers, but last week they got absolutely manhandled by the New York Jets, 35-9. No contest here. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. I think Andrew Luck's going to bounce back. He's going to have a big game. Reggie Wayne, I think he'll get going. So expect Luck to be the catalyst for this win. So Cleveland was lucky to get that win last week, but I don't think they can win 2 in a row. And Indy, I think, is getting better. So slowly but surely, they're getting better. I think they're a little better than they were last year. So I'm going to go with Indy in this one. 24-10, Indy knocks off Cleveland. All right, next up, New York Jets against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Oh, man, this is one of the best rivalries in the game today. Jets coming off a 35-9 beatdown of Indy, and the Patriots, that tough loss to the Seattle Seahawks, 24-23 at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. Really can go either way, but I got to go with the New England Patriots in this one. This is a no contest. I think Brady's going to bounce back. That receiving core, Welker, Gronk, Hernandez, Lloyd, the running game with Bolden and Ridley. The defense, I think they'll bounce back. And who knows, Tim Tebow, we might see him. You don't know. But I'm going to go with the New England Patriots in this one. I'll say maybe, 28-24. The Patriots knock off the Jets at Gillette. Should be a hell of a game. And that's the other half of the doubleheader here in the New England area on WPRI 12. So it should be a great game. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Oakland Raiders at Oakland Coliseum. Jaguars, off a bye week, they got beaten down by the Bears 41-3. Raiders, tough loss in Atlanta. Almost snapped the Falcons' unbeaten streak. I'm going to go with the Oakland Raiders in this one. I think they're the better team. I think Carson Palmer's going to have a big game. I think Gabbert's going to have a dud game, and that defense will slow him down and slow down Maurice Jones-Drew. So expect Carson to have a big day, and maybe Darren McFadden and that running game. So I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. I'll say 23-10, Raiders over the Jags in the black hole of Oakland. Next up, Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Steelers coming off of a very tough loss to the Tennessee Titans on that Thursday Night Football game, 26-23 at LP Field in Nashville. And then on the other side, you have Cincinnati coming off that tough loss to Cleveland, 34-24 in Cincinnati, or I should say in Cleveland, rather. Really tough to call. It really is. Both teams are struggling, but I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one based on experience. I'll say 24-20, Pittsburgh knocks off Cincinnati in Cincinnati. And our final game of the week, Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions against the Chicago Bears. Lions coming off of a big win in Philadelphia, 26-23 in overtime. Bears with that 41-3 beatdown of Jacksonville. I got to go with the Chicago Bears in this one. I think they're the better team. I think Cutler's going to have a big game. I think that defense is going to smother and manhandle Matthew Stafford. Running game will have a chance. I think they'll contain Megatron Johnson as well. So Bears win this one. I'll go 37-21, I guess. Chicago beats Detroit. All right, that'll do it for our predictions for Week 7 of the NFL season. Of course, stay tuned. Coming up on this channel in just a little bit, I will have my power rankings for this week. So until then, it's Anthony Flo saying you're watching The Tone 25 here on YouTube.com. Bye for now.